It's one thing to break the law. It's another to try to run away from the police, especially not Fremont Police Department. Awesome. So today we're at the Fremont Police Department with the one and only Captain Sean Washington. Sean, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you.
We're here because Fremont Police Department is doing a really special thing. They're taking a giant leap forward into technology. And before kind of getting into everything that we're doing, just kind of want to learn a little bit more about the Fremont Police Department, what we have today as far as, patrol vehicles.
Right, yeah, so we have a fleet of about 90 vehicles or so, and obviously Ford Explorers are our primary vehicles right now.
Okay.
However, over the last decade, we've really tried to pay close attention to the type of vehicles that we deploy in the field. So we have hybrids. We've had hybrids for administrative vehicles, community service officer vehicles, things of that nature.
Okay.
And today, really, this is just the natural progression on where we want to go into the future.
Yeah, awesome. So you said about 90 vehicles. What do these vehicles run the department?
Yeah, it's on average, our average patrol vehicle we keep for about 5 years or about 90 to 100,000 miles.
Okay.
And they roughly cost about $40,000 when we get them from Ford.
Okay.
And so we have to install some equipment for sure, but that's typically recycled from the old model, and we can recycle the equipment into the new model. But what really sets it apart, and what really has sparked this particular pilot program, is that on average we spend about $30,000 to $35,000 in fuel during the lifespan of that vehicle. So you start to do the math, and it starts to make a lot of sense, and then you factor in all of the advantages to like the environment and all those other sorts of things, and that's why we're here today to see how this is going to work.
Yeah, exactly. And the lifespan for the vehicle for you guys is, you said, about like 5 years, right? Yeah. So a lot of wear and tear on the vehicle. Of course, you guys doing your amazing work that you're doing here.
Yeah, and there's also the maintenance component of the vehicle as well. So with your traditional vehicles, there's a lot of oil changes, there are a lot of fluid changes, there's a lot more moving parts on the vehicle. So our vehicle maintenance folks are really interested in this project as well, because they're hoping that the time that they spend conducting maintenance on vehicles will be reduced with a vehicle like this.
Yeah. So walk me through, a typical officer's, a patrol officer's day, right? What does that entail? Like how many hours and how many miles, are they doing in a day?
Yeah, typically they'll start their shift. We have 11-hour shifts. Okay. And so typically they're only on the street for about 8 of those hours.
Okay.
And in a typical day, they average between 55 and 75 miles that they drive. Okay. And again, we're in a city, so there's not a lot of highway miles involved in it, but they're short calls for service. So it's 3 miles down the road, we may have to respond. So at the end of the day, about 55 to 75 miles. And we're full service police department. So everything from responding to emergency calls to disturbances to pursuits to arrest, they do it all. So that's what this car will do as well.
So what kind, given now all this kind of stuff that we talked about here, just understanding the what a officer goes through, what are kind of the wear and tear on the vehicles, the answer to this question is pretty much given, but still it's granted to ask, what made you guys think of, looking at electric vehicles? And then the follow-up to that is specifically, why the Tesla Model S?
Yeah, so like I mentioned, we over the past decade, we've really tried to make an effort to support our city initiative, which is to explore and identify clean energy.
Yeah.
And so that's been in the last couple of years our citywide initiative. So we're doing our part here. And this seemed like the natural next step with hybrids and all those other sorts of things. Fully electric vehicle, We want to test if that will work in a police environment. Hard acceleration, hard braking, the lights, the siren, all that type of stuff. We really wanted to see if that will work. So the pilot program was just the very next step or stage we felt was necessary to see how it goes.
Yeah. So right now the pilot program with one Tesla Model S, and that was a 85 kilowatt battery car. Okay, and you guys were able to purchase that used?
Yeah, so we felt it was fiscally responsible, since it's a pilot program,
right,
to purchase a used vehicle. And they're just as good.
Yeah, of course.
And we don't need all the bells and whistles.
Right.
So, being in government, we want to be fiscally responsible and practical.
Yeah.
So we decided to go with the used Model S, and really we're testing the technology.
Yeah.
We're testing the technology to see if it will work in a patrol environment. Now, to get to your point on why Tesla, we did evaluate some other electric vehicles, but it really had to be as close or exceed what we're used to with our traditional vehicles that we have now.
Right.
So performance, we had to have a vehicle that met those needs. Size, we carry a lot of equipment in the vehicle, and we have prisoners that we have to put in the back, so
right,
that was considered as well. And the range. So we needed a vehicle that could sustain operations and make it through an entire shift. So we put all those things together, evaluating all the other options, and really there was no other option at this particular time than Tesla. Now we anticipate that, as technology improves, there will be some other automakers that will catch up.
Yeah.
But right now it's it just wasn't close.
Kind of leading the pack there. Yeah. So I guess follow up to that on the technology side is, with a technology car, you need technology infrastructure. So what kind of infrastructure is Fremont Police Department kind of putting in place to help support this pilot program for this car and potentially maybe the future if there's more electric cars?
Right. So we already currently have charging stations for some of our plugins.
Okay.
So that was already in place, and we needed to have that in place. And that was before we even considered the Tesla.
Yeah.
We went down that road quite a few years ago. But to help support it, we do have a Tesla charger that we're working with Tesla to install here on our police campus, and it will be lined up with all the other patrol cars that we have there, and it'd just be plugged in alongside all of the other cars.
Yeah.
And so we definitely want to get the results from this pilot program, and then make a proposal if it's sustainable. We're going to make a proposal to have a bank of chargers and add to our fleet and all those other sorts of things.
That's super exciting. So I think I read that you guys are the first. So what's the kind of background? I know we've seen Teslas being used as cabs, as police cars in other countries, but in the United States, what is the other what are the other departments doing?
Yeah, so this definitely we did not come up with this idea for sure. Okay. So there were other police agencies that really wanted to test this out. And so, for instance, we worked with LAPD, who has a Tesla that is, painted black and white and all those other sorts of things. And then the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department as well, they have a Tesla. It's not painted, but they're testing it on their track, and they have been testing it for several years. So when we initiated our program, we partnered with those two agencies, and we took a trip down to LA and saw what they had and where they were with their particular programs. And what we found is that they're going to roll out their programs very differently than what we're planning to do with ours. For us, it's going to be a fully functional patrol car, meaning it will go to routine calls for service. Right. It's going to get in pursuits. It's going to respond code 3 with lights and sirens. It's going to arrest people and have, well, the car's not, but we're going to arrest people, put people in the back of the car. And so for them, they wanted to have it like more of a supervisor's vehicle, that type of thing, and probably eventually get to where we want to go with the pilot program. But we just felt that to really test this technology, we wanted to put it through its paces and have it out there. So to our knowledge, this will be the first all-electric Tesla that will be serving the community in patrol capacity.
That's super exciting. So with that, you had mentioned that working with Tesla on kind of the infrastructure. Now, one thing that I'm sure everybody wants to know is, it's not just a basic Tesla inside. It's had to go through a lot of probably upgrades and specifications that need to be met to meet the expectations of the police department. So can you talk a little bit about that and what kind of stuff we had to be done to the car?
Yeah, and that was a challenge because obviously Teslas don't come roll off the assembly line believing that it's at some point going to be a police car, right? And so we had to put the equipment. It was very important to put all of the standard equipment that you will find in a patrol car in the Tesla.
Right.
And so because the Tesla wasn't necessarily designed to accept this equipment, we had to work with Tesla and some of the engineers to really problem solve and make things work to where it is a fully functional police car.
Yeah.
Things like the push bar on the front. Most Tesla owners don't put, a 30-pound bar to push cars out of the way on the front of their vehicle.
Right.
A prisoner barrier in the back. Again, it comes with its own challenges. One of the important things that we had to consider was that we would not compromise the safety features that are built into the car. So, when you put things like a prisoner barrier in the back, how does that affect the side impact airbags? Will they deploy properly with that obstruction there? So it took a little bit of engineering and a little bit of time to problem solve, but we figured all of those things out, and here we are.
Yeah. That's exciting. It's a lot. Sounds like a lot of work, and it sounds like Tesla's been cooperative and working with you guys. I mean, we're all in the same city, and so we're all after the same cause.
Well, that makes it easy.
Yeah.
Tesla's in our backyard, and so we do have probably access a little more freely than some of the other agencies.
Yeah.
That's probably what really accelerated our program for, as opposed to LA, who, they're obviously 400 or 500 miles away.
Yeah.
If we have to problem solve, it's a phone call and a 5-minute drive down to the factory. So,
right.
we definitely took advantage of that option for us to just drive down to the factory and speak to someone one-on-one.
Right. So I know that probably most of what's in the car is found in most police cars. Is there anything that's in this car that you guys kind of added in as something special that is not found in some of the other police cars that we have, or that you could talk about?
Yeah, absolutely. It has, like you mentioned, it has all the equipment that a standard patrol vehicle has. Everything in this vehicle matches what we have in the other vehicles, except we had to modify some things a little bit. The cage is what we call the cage in the back, or the prisoner barrier, is constructed a little bit differently than what you would find. The spotlight. So typically in our patrol cars, we have the spotlight in the A pillar of the car, and it goes through there. Well, there's side impact airbags in the A pillar of the Tesla, so we had to think about how to overcome that. So we put the spotlight on the push bar in the front, and it's remotely controlled.
Okay.
And so that was something that we worked through. So, it has the same equipment. It just may not look exactly the same. But, there's nothing in here that we added that is not in our standard patrol cars. We just had to engineer it in a different way.
So I guess with that being said, here's Fremont Police Department making this leap and this leap of faith in testing and piloting. What other government agencies and, as far as, fire, EMT, do you see them also taking advantage of electric vehicles like the way you guys are?
Absolutely. And in fact, after our press release on the vehicle, I would say I had about 3 or 4 agencies throughout the nation that has contacted me, and they were not law enforcement. They were other emergency responders, fire departments, and ambulance services and things of that nature. So they're interested as well. So I just see, if it does work, I just see this expanding, beyond law enforcement and being integrated in other emergency services. So that's the exciting part, is that we're part of helping to lead that push towards cleaner energy alternatives.
Exactly. Awesome. So if you happen to be in the Fremont area in the next couple months, you may or may not catch a glimpse of the Tesla patrol car if you keep your eyes peeled, because it might just fly right past you. Sean, thank you so much again for taking the time and talking with us.
Thank you.
Letting everyone know about the cool stuff that Fremont PD is doing.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Appreciate it.
Yes, definitely.